What is up, YouTube? We're back with another one. This is gonna be a part 3 on my self-storage deal as to how it's going, what's happened. It's been like, I think a month since my last video, and we've had a lot of good and a lot of bad happen. So let's go to the great things. We have 2 new leases that have been signed and tenants that have moved in. This represents just under 10% more leased up space because it's a smaller facility. This is incredible news. Obviously, more rental income. It's at near market rent. I had to give away a month free just because I'm trying to give as many incentives away to get it leased up as fast as possible. But really, of these 2 that have signed, we actually had probably 10 people inquire past like 1 text. And then I'd say 6 of those called. And then 4 of those actually said verbally on the phone that they want to get a lease, and 2 have signed. The other 2 that have not signed, actually, one of them is still talking to me and she's saying she's just waiting another week or so. The other guy is kind of not really responding. So obviously I'm not gonna count my chickens before they hatch, but for all intents and purposes, we have 2 signed new tenants inside the facility. We also have had the owner, prior owner, I'm the owner now, the prior seller move all of his junk out. He left trash everywhere. I'm gonna put up photos so you guys can see. And we also had another tenant move out and he also left trash everywhere. So last weekend I actually went over and I did 2 trips in my truck of just trash haul, of just junk. Because I'm trying to lower expenses as much as possible, I did get rid of the dumpster that was usually on site. That dumpster alone was like $200 and something. And when nobody's doing anything there, there's no real trash to be thrown away. Of course, once I fully lease up the place, I'll definitely be getting it again. But for right now, it doesn't make any sense for me to have a dumpster when I don't mind just driving back and forth. Even though the drive isn't that good or fun, for now, I don't mind doing it because I just need to get it done. The other great thing that we've done is that we've actually listed the land for lease. Again, I'm gonna put up photos of that listing right here. I listed this, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I took better photos. So since the last update, I've actually talked to a few other food court vendors or food truck vendors, and I've gotten not much interest in the land. Although there was apparently a food truck there in the past, the few food truck guys that I did talk to, one of them has like 50 food trucks. He didn't seem too keen on it because it was kind of off his typical route. He has a lot of stuff kind of more in west and north and south Austin, not much east. And then the other guys, they were more just like 2, 3 truck operators, and it just didn't make sense for them. So there's only one other food truck guy that was actually in the area, and they already have 2 locations for some barbecue spot. So I'm not really getting any traction on that end. Obviously, I still have things posted because the food truck really would probably give me $500 a month in rent, whereas the land lease would actually give me less. So that's why I was kind of pushing more for the food truck because that's a lot more flexible and it's a higher dollar amount per, the amount of size. So for my current place the current listing that I put up, it's actually a full land lease. It's the 1.3 acres, the remaining amount of land for $1,500 a month. I kind of just made that number out of nothing. There's pretty much no comps to go of in this area of land leases, long-term land leases in the past year and a half. I couldn't find anything, I think, before a year and a half. And that other thing that was more than a year and a half was like 100 acres. It was a huge amount. So I actually did find other comps pretty far away. I saw, I think, an acre and a half for $8,000, which is used as more of like an industrial park. But for me, I see kind of a few options as to how this could be used. It has high frontage road, and there's around 2,000 cars that drive by every single day, which is not a ton, but it's not a little. And there's a few things you could do. It would be great for somebody that has like a tow truck or wants to have their own junkyard or mechanic shop. That'd be a great use. It'd also be really good for heavy machinery and equipment. It's like those big Caterpillar trucks and huge equipment. That'd be great too. And also really like a pulga or a flea market type thing would also be really good because it's a long strip. You can have a bunch of little markets with people that park and go enter. So there's so many options you could do. And the kind of other thing that I'm thinking about doing is actually buying kind of a really cheap structure. When I say cheap, I mean like $1,000, $2,000, like a very small, maybe 10 foot by 20 foot mobile home kind of. Maybe it has a restroom, maybe it doesn't. It could be pretty beat up. and just kind of dropping it there, hooking it up, and just having kind of a working office space, so to speak. That may kind of make it really easy, or a lot easier to envision somebody that maybe has like a car dealership or wants to, park all their stuff there, that they can maybe work at their computer while also kind of having all their equipment on site. The other thing too is that we'll probably need a fence depending on what type of person is going to be using it. If it's a junkyard, I don't think we'll need a fence, but if it's like, heavy equipment and machinery, we might need a fence. Obviously, I don't really see a reason to install a fence and spend 30 grand, 20 grand on getting galvanized, or it'd be less, it'd probably be like 10 grand. I don't see a reason to do that until I kind of have negotiations in place. But because a kind of little building is pretty cheap, I think I might just pull the trigger on paying like $1 grand or $2 grand to get something and just drop it off there and kind of just get better photos. So those are all the great things. Obviously the bad things, like I kind of talked about, was the trash. That was really annoying. Obviously, I actually got a call from a neighbor there that told me that there was a bunch of trash on site, which is extremely helpful. That being a small city, I was able to get just a neighbor to let me know versus me, I guess, waiting a week. And one interesting thing to notice is that I still don't have a Google business page, which is horrible. I've tried looking at all of the support systems for Google. There are none for Google Business. Which is so irritating because I know as a storage facility that's kind of out of the way of the major city and main highways, I would be getting a lot more traction if people can just see my prices when they look up storage nearby or storage around me, and they could see I'm clearly the cheapest. And sure, I may be 10, 15 minutes farther away or kind of out of the way, but for some people that are very cost centric, like myself, I would not mind if I'm dropping stuff off that I'm not gonna pick up for a year, driving an extra 10, 15 minutes away. So I'm really missing out on probably a good amount of clientele and potential leases just because of that. But I have put up a Yelp. I have put up my big signs and I'm keep renewing my Craigslist and Facebook ads. And I've gotten so far the most traction from my physical sign, which is awesome because I actually spent $500 as per my last update on that. And that's definitely given me the most traction. I've gotten the most calls, and I always ask, where did you get this number from? And they always say the sign. I've only had one person say the Facebook post, and they actually signed up through it. So really, I'd say of those 10 people that have inquired that have actually gotten past like the first step, most of those have been the sign, with maybe two being from Facebook. And then we've gotten probably 5 or 6 additional people from Facebook that just kind of, after saying I'm interested, just disappear. So that's really how it's looking. And as for a cash flow thing, we actually are going to be basically breaking even still. We did lose a tenant that left 2 items or moved out 2 of his things. Actually, we lost 3 tenants, so we're still barely cash flowing. We had a tenant move out because they were moving and they didn't tell me ahead of time, which is whatever. And then we had another guy move out 2 units because he had a dispute with a prior owner. He felt like he was an owner too, but he wasn't. So that was a whole separate thing where he just felt burned. So really we're kind of back to where we should have been if the rent roll was truthful. But it is what it is. I mean, at this rate, if I continue getting just 2 people every month and a half, it's gonna take me 4 or 5 months to fully lease up. And obviously, if these other 2 people that are interested sign up, it'll be even faster. So I'm not too worried, honestly. And of course, if I get this land lease done, I'll be netting $1,000 to $2,000, if not more, a month after that point, which is extremely exciting. So it's kind of more of a back burner thing to me at this point. Now I'm not necessarily just in the weeds, like super spending a lot of time. I'm more just waiting to get calls. The property is very simple. There's not really much going on there day to day, and there's very low expenses. So I'm gonna be looking for probably buying another building in the next 6 months, probably around the same size, not self-storage. It could be retail, mixed use, apartment. I don't care. I wanna try different asset classes and kind of just grow myself as an operator before buying the bigger things. So that's all the main updates with this thing. I'm probably gonna post again in another month-ish and kind of go over any additional leases, any additional things I've learned. But otherwise, it's been pretty good. I mean, we're kind of back to where we should have been in the beginning, but it is what it is. At this rate, we're gonna be totally fine, and we're gonna be for sure netting some good money in a few months. So if you like what you watch, please like, rate, comment, subscribe. I love talking to you guys. Please reach out. And I'm excited for the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.